All right, let's move over to this bantamweight scrap now where we got Davy Grant coming in at -120, welcoming Juan Adrian Martinetti to the UFC, who comes in at +100. Now, Davy Grant actually was a dog when I first studied this matchup late last week. I think he was around that +125, +130 range. A ton of love coming in on him over the last 48 hours to push him to a favorite now. Now, he's coming off of a club and sub loss at the hands of Charles Jourdain last time around. And that was a fight where Jourdain was able to, it was a competitive striking matchup for about 2.5 minutes. But then Jourdain landed that patented flying knee to hurt Grant. And then from there, he jumped on the guillotine and forced the tap from the BJJ black belt. Now, that's weird to say because most of Grant's losses often come by submission, even though he is a BJJ black belt. But normally he likes to utilize his power striking approach. He likes to walk opponents down, likes to land combinations, likes to bloody them up. He's very effective in the pocket as well. And it's crazy that I don't think he has a knockout loss on his record, especially with the amount of fights that actually take place inside the pocket. He has 8 total losses, with 5 of them coming by submission and the other ones coming by decision. He does find himself a little bit lost at times, especially when he gets hurt or gets caught off guard with these submissions, which is why guys have been able to submit him. But as we've seen in recent performances against Ramon Tavares, striker, Damon Blackshear, grappler, he's able to go out there and beat these guys in their games, even with him pushing 40. Right? He is 40 now, so I'm going to be curious to see what he can bring to the table this weekend. But we often see a lot of pressure, a lot of pocket exchanges, a lot of wide hooks that he likes to bring, and he has some stinging power. But I think he only has 4 wins by knockout throughout his career, which I think is a little bit surprising considering how often we see him go out there and try to throw strikes. Now, he's going up against Juan Adrian Martinetti, who is 17-1. No win, probably bigger than the one that he had on the Contender Series last time around, as he was able to outwork and eventually outgut Mark Vologdin en route to a decision win. That went down as probably one of the best fights in Contender Series history, and I believe the UFC actually dropped the fight on YouTube and put it the best fight in Contender Series history, and it has 1.9 million views. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, that fight definitely held up to that type of standard. Vologdin hurt Martinetti numerous times in that first round, hurt him again in the second round, wasn't able to close the show, and then Martinetti was able to turn the tide as Vologdin started to slow down, and Martinetti was getting off on better shots, hurting Vologdin throughout those last 10 minutes, and then able to win the fight on the scorecards. That was his 15th straight win, but obviously the most important because it got him to the UFC. He loves his grappling the most and utilizes his BJJ to often wrap up submissions, but he does have a solid and unorthodox kicking game, which helps him keeps opponents at bay and keep them guessing in terms of what he's going to be throwing next. He also likes attacking the calf, which helps him slow his opponents down and then eventually get to his grappling game from there. But I do have a little bit of issues in terms of his striking defense, which is how Vologdin was often able to hurt him over and over again. Also, the opponents that he was facing on the regional scene, I don't think they were experienced enough or tough enough to really cause him issues, to really allow him to have good experience as he comes into the UFC. And I think we'll see that this weekend. And I think that's why a lot of people are banking on Grant here, especially when he was the underdog. Now, this is a fun fight. This is a fight that I expect a lot of chaos to come out of. So when I saw that the under 2.5 was at between +140 and +160, depending on the book that you get, I was happy to shoot on that. I think the under is the play in this matchup. I think Grant probably gets the win. I think he's able to walk Martinetti down, land big shots, maybe get a club and sub of his own, or even just a straight up knockout. But the unorthodox striking style of Martinetti could potentially prove another club and sub win for him too. Right? We've seen Grant struggle with guys who have that flashy striking game, just as Charles Jourdain does, and Martinetti is absolutely capable of landing a big shot on Grant to wobble him and then follow up with the submission to get the tap there as well. I'm expecting this fight to be pure chaos, so I'm banking on the under more than anything here. But in terms of an official prediction, I'm going to go Grant, and I'm going to go Grant by knockout. I think he takes advantage of the sketchy striking defense, I should say, of Martinetti, and that should lead to a knockout for the aging veteran. But again, chaotic fight.